Okay, so welcome to part 2 of your solutions video for this week. So we are starting this video with some multiplication, okay? So we're just going to write it out like this. So we'll have 35 times 58, and we're going to do it like this. So 8 times 5 is 40, so we're going to pop our 4 there and our 0 there. And then we're going to do 8 times 3 is 24, but we have got to add this 4, so we put our 28 there, so we've got 280. Second row, we've always got to put our 0 in because we're working with something in the tens. So 5 times 5 is 25, so we'll pop our 2 there and our 5 there. And then 5 times 3 is 15, plus the 2 is 17, so we put our 17 there. So then we've got those two added together, so 0 plus 0 is 0. 5 plus 8 is obviously 13. 7 plus 2 is 9, plus the 1 is 10. And then the 2 there. Okay, so that should be our final answer, 2030. Okay, so we'll do the same for this one. Okay, so we've got 600, and let's write it as far up here as possible, 670 times 21. Okay, so 1 times 0 is 0, 1 times 7 is 7, and 1 times 6 is 6. Okay, so then we've got the second column, so we'll pop our 0 in here. So 2 times 0 is 0, 2 times 7 is 14, 2 times 6 is 12, plus that one is 13, and then we've just got to add those two together. So we've got a 0, we've got a 7, we've got a 10, we've got a 4, and we've got a 1. Okay, so that should be the answer, 14,070. Okay, on to kind of changing things. Okay, so we're changing 0.363 into a fraction. Okay, so when it's like this, it's nice and simple. So changing it to a fraction just quite simply becomes 63 over 100, okay, because if you times it by 10, you would have 6.3 over 10, but that's not good enough because we can't have a decimal point in there, so you'd have to times it by 100, okay? So if you times it by 100, then you get your 63 over 100, which is your answer. So then it says, number 14, express this as a percentage. So I've got 17 over 20. Now percentages are always out of 100, so I've got to get my denominator to be out of 100. So what have I got to do to 20 to get it to 100? I've got to times it by 5 to get 100. And I'm going to have to do the same to the top. So if I times 17 by 5, then I should get 85. So I can pop that on the top of my fraction here. And then because it's now out of 100, it's already virtually a percentage, I just take my numerator and add the percentage sign. So there's your answer there, 85%. Number 15 then. We're on to square numbers here. And so what's the 10th one? So the 10th number is 10. So therefore a square number is just timesing it by itself. So I'm going to do 10 times 10. And therefore my answer, nice and simply, is 100. Okay, now on to number 16. It says, what is the third prime number? So if you remember, prime numbers are numbers that are only divisible by the number 1 and themselves. So you've just got to figure out what the third one of those is. So we've got 2, we've got 3, and then we've got the number 5. So number 5 is the third prime number. Okay, so on to question 17. So it asks you to find 20% of something, okay? So the best way of doing this, as we've done in class, is to find 10%. Just got to divide it by 10. So 720 divided by 10, take off the 0, is £72. And then obviously if I want 20%, I'm just going to times that by 2. So 20% is just 72 times 2, which would be £144. Okay, next one then, I would like 40% of £4. So again, maybe I'll just find 10% to start with because that's nice and easy. Just divide that by 10. That leaves me with £4. That's what 10% is. But I want 40%, so I'm going to have to times that by 4. So therefore 40% would equal £4 times 4, which is £16. Okay, so that's the answer for that one. Now these ones are nice and simple because we want to leave them in pi. So it says calculate the area of a circle with radius 3 centimetres. Now if we remember that the formula for finding the area of a circle is pi r squared, I can just pop my 3 in because I've already got the radius. So it'll be pi 3 squared. But what is 3 squared? It's 9, okay? So my answer, the proper answer, would be pi 9. Okay, now the next one says calculate the circumference of a circle with diameter 18. Okay, so if we remember, the formula for finding the circumference of a circle is pi times diameter. And good news, you've already got the diameter, so it is quite simply pi 18. But we must remember to pop our units in there, okay? So this one would be pi 9 centimetres squared because it's the area, and this would be pi 18 centimetres, okay, because it's the circumference. Then you know you've got the final two answers completely correct. So make sure you've given yourself a mark out of 20 and you've corrected any that weren't quite there. I hope you've had a lovely week, you have a lovely weekend, and you'll get your next lot of maths work on Monday. Bye-bye.